Nearly a year has gone by since state lawmakers made it mandatory for people convicted in child pornography cases to serve a minimum 3-year prison sentence. But many judges are opposed to the mandatory penalty. News 8's Pauline Lee joins us with a closer look.
Well, in a given year, La Crosse County sees maybe a handful of child pornography cases. It can be anything from someone looking at a picture or watching a video online to someone committing the act and videotaping it. But finding justice isn't exactly a clear-cut answer. When handing down a sentence, La Crosse County Circuit Court Judge Scott Horn says there are many things to consider.
We're obligated to weigh the interests of public protection, the need to reflect the gravity of the offense, need to take into account the character and rehabilitative needs of the offender, and then courts are required to balance those factors.
But Horn says a mandatory 3-year minimum prison sentence for child pornography cases isn't appropriate for every single case.
It's clear that the crime is an extremely serious one. Nonetheless, there will be cases in which there will be a consensus that under the facts of an individual case, that presumptive minimum should not be imposed.
3 years seems like a small price to pay for that poor little kid who's going to be victimized over and over again. I don't have a lot of sympathy, honestly, for perpetrators of child pornography.
As a social worker for Gunderson Lutheran Hospital, Carolyn Devine says child pornography can have lasting effects on the victims.
They really are handed down a life sentence themselves because these images of them are out in the community for anybody to see all over the world over and over and over again, and they can do absolutely nothing to stop it.
She says this could lead to things like post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, shame, and anger that victims can carry with them for the rest of their lives. While Horn sees the seriousness in the crime, he says finding justice doesn't come in a one-size-fits-all.
Justice is done when courts are free to do what they're constitutionally required to do, and that is weigh all of the factors that go into a sentencing decision and then impose an appropriate sentence. I think it's very difficult for justice to be done when a sentence is imposed by a legislature sitting in Madison.
Now, the state representative who sponsored the mandatory penalty says it's a good idea because he thought judges were being too lenient.
Thank you, Pauline. While the 3-year minimum prison sentence is mandatory, judges can impose a lesser sentence, but only under very unique circumstances.